it's a good chance we really get to know those guys because we have people just return every year to help out. They love biking and they love to see other people bike. But as you kind of touched on, like the average person, because we have so many different activities, the average person is going to, have a place to fit in with us because we are probably doing an activity that they love anyways. And that's the easiest way for people to connect because they're both just doing, you like to share your passion. So these people are all bikers. We have hikers, we have art people. I mean, anything that you like to do, golfing, we're probably doing that, and we probably could use your help.
Welcome to High Trust Professionals, a podcast where we interview top industry and community leaders, business owners, and entrepreneurs from across the country. Hear what it takes to build trust, be a respected leader, be productive, and win your day. Sit back and relax as we dive into another episode of High Trust Professionals podcast.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining High Trust Professionals podcast. I'm Lynette Arrasmith, your host. And with me today, I have two guests for a change. I'm so excited. We're going to talk with Nina and Megan, who are with Outlook Enrichment. And Nina Rongisch is the Director of Fund Development. And Megan Mackie is the Community Outreach Specialist. Welcome, ladies.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for being here. You know, one of our favorite things to do is to learn about our community, nonprofits in our community, and what you do to serve that audience and how we can help. So, but before we talk about Outlook Enrichment, tell us about you. Like, I want each of you just to give a brief little synopsis of maybe life before Outlook Enrichment. Nina, you want to go first?
Yeah. Born and raised here in Omaha. The best job I have is being a mom to an active 13-year-old boy. And I've got an amazing husband who is my biggest supporter in everything I do.
Yeah. And I can say, yes, he is, because I might know him. I know him. Megan, how about you?
I was born in Omaha, raised in California, moved back to Omaha. I have 5 dogs and am often fostering more dogs.
Oh my gosh.
And prior to working at Outlook, I was a longtime waitress and car wash sales representative. So very exciting.
Wow. The variety at this table.
Yes.
We love that. Awesome. So maybe give our audience, your specific roles, what you do, and kind of what's the breadth of your responsibility, respectively.
Yeah, I'll let you go first.
Okay. I am the community outreach specialist, but that kind of breaks down to being the community event coordinator. So I reach out to the blind community and try to get them together to do activities, recreational activities, social activities, cultural activities. And I also get to interact with the general public to try to line up people that might be able to host different events for us.
Sure. That's wonderful. And we're going to touch on, so that our audience knows, we're going to touch on, because you think activities for the blind and sight impaired. Interesting. And so I'm anxious to dive into what that really looks like. Nina, how about you?
So as the Director of Fund Development, I get the fun. I set up two big fundraisers. So we have our golf tournament coming up on June 7th that we do paired with our Blind Golfers Clinic. And then we have our gala in October every year. That's called Vision Beyond Sight Gala. And then throughout the year, I'm working with donors, sponsors, doing community outreach. So I am out and about, being part of different organizations, telling the story of who Outlook is and why people should become involved with us.
I love that. And that's actually how we met.
Yes.
Because Nina was out and about. And we met and have become friends, and she's a client. And here we are talking about Outlook Enrichment, which I love. So so let's kind of dive in. Outlook Enrichment. So I was poking around on the website. I love your mission, empowering people living with vision loss with skills and tools to achieve their goals, which is awesome. And then the vision, we aspire to be the first place people in our community and beyond turn when seeking resources that empower those who are blind and those losing their sight. So I think that's what's so interesting to me about that is because you think about, I mean, blind is blind, but you also touch on when someone's losing their sight, or maybe they aren't blind, but they're sight impaired, right?
Mhm.
And so I saw all kinds of things that you do from adaptive technology, independent living, arts and culture, recreation, employment. I mean, we might have to have like a 3-part series here, ladies, because there's so much to talk about. So, how do you dive in? Where do you dive in and talk about kind of who is Outlook?
I think the story begins back in 2000 when Outlook was formed.
Mm-hmm.
It started with 5 associates to make toilet paper and paper towels, and it was started to help those with a vision impairment have a job. And it works with the Ability One program, which is a nationwide program that works with around 5,000 visually impaired individuals and doing different jobs in manufacturing settings. And then Eric Studcraft, the CEO of Outlook Nebraska, I think took it to the next step. As he kept growing Outlook Nebraska, that side, he saw that there was a need to help those that worked internally. So he started the enrichment programs in 2011 that started with adaptive technology because he saw there's people on the manufacturing floor, they've got more skills and we can help them go further. And ultimately, he wanted to start the enrichment program so that people would come in, start their careers with us, but go out and start a job with someone else and then and continue their career. And that's when he also started the recreation programs, and then internally that all started, and then he took them out into the community, and that's where Megan comes in with the community.
Okay, so someone in essence could start with you to learn, and so you help them grow. You help them grow whatever that skill is or that job is so that they're employable.
Yes.
If they want to be. Could they just stay? Could
Yes.
they
Yeah. A lot of people do stay, and there is room to grow on the manufacturing floor too. They're advancing with different technologies for machine operators. So you could start with something basic like putting toilet paper in a box and move up from there. We do have a lot of people that do stay because even though we prepare people, it's still hard to get a job out there as a person with vision loss.
Sure it is. So love that. So let's talk about the community. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, there are, just like for us in mortgage lending, a lot of people that do what we do. And there are other nonprofits, obviously, in the community as well. So how do you get out in the community? How do you tell your story so people know about you?
So I belong to different chambers, different networking groups, and we lean on them as I'm out meeting people. Eric and I are always trying to present our story, whether people want us to come in or they come in. We have people that want to do tours. We are actually listed on Visit Omaha as one of the top places to do a tour at. And so they come in, we do a presentation. The more we can get them into our facility to see what we do hands-on, the better, because then that really gives them a picture. But even this week, I have 2 presentations that I'm going to go make about Outlook. But we've upped our presentations to show this is what really happens inside of our building. So yeah, it's just getting out there, telling our story as much as possible, and then being out in the community, doing the activities.
So that makes sense. Get that. And of course, my mind's going, okay, so let's see, I can invite Nina to do this and tell the story, and maybe we'll take one of our small groups and we'll come and tour, maybe volunteer. So that's all of a sudden, and that's kind of the point, right? You want to talk about it so that other people are thinking, oh, wow, didn't know. Now I know. Let's take action. So how does someone who needs you know about you?
Well, my part of the community outreach is a little bit different because when I speak about community outreach, I'm mainly speaking about the blind community. So, which is bigger than you think. And I think you already mentioned kind of a common misconception like blind is blind, but there's actually like people don't like to be associated with being quote unquote blind if they're not totally blind. So I think we're just trying to be out there educating that it's, there's so many ways that people can relate to it if you mention diabetic retinopathy? Do you have that? Do you have cataracts? And people
Mm-hmm.
are a lot more willing to say, yeah, I do have that, than
Sure.
labeling them as like blind.
Yeah.
So we get most of our blind and low vision participants, I think, just by word of mouth. We've tried advertising, we try, putting out the emails and the Facebook posts, but it's really just somebody having a great time or having a great experience that runs into somebody else and says, hey, you should try this golf simulator thing they have going on this weekend. So this weekend alone, we had 4 new people participate in. We had a tandem bike ride, and then we also had a chance to try out the new golf simulator that we got. So
Cool.
we had 4 new people show up this weekend just to try stuff. So we're always getting new people. We're always trying new things to try to attract those people to something that they maybe used to do or want to try. And so my community is the blind community. We get out there and try to make an impact just by showing up in a large group and doing things that people might not think we would be out there doing.
Right. Which is, a golf simulator. That is super cool.
Yeah, we got very lucky. We got a very nice donation based off of the Blind Golfers Clinic that we had last year. So we were able to purchase this, and it's actually how we kicked it. We did, usually our Blind Golfers Clinic is right before our golf tournament, and this year we decided to try something different. And we kicked off our Blind Golfers Clinic at our office with their sighted guides, learning how to use the simulator and how to be a guide. And then some of them have still used the simulator. We've got 2 of them going out with their guides this week to go to the driving range, go out into the golf course. And then we either had people sponsor them to be in the golf tournament this year, or we are with the donation covering the cost for them and their guide to be in the golf tournament this year, which is something we haven't done before. So we're very excited. Our hope is they'll take this experience and be like, I really enjoy golfing. I want to keep this connection with my guide because they know me. And then we get 4 new people in next year with 4 new guides so that we can just keep building this up. And then they'll have larger groups to go golfing with because they'll always need a guide to go golfing.
Right.
So
Yeah. And again, I'm so glad that you're here because there are things that we're talking about that the average person just wouldn't know. You just don't know about that. And then, oh, wow, that sounds cool. How can I participate? How can I contribute? So talk to me about the tandem bike riding, because that kind of sounds like fun.
Yeah, it is fun. It's actually one of the longest running events that we've organized. And we've had upwards of like 13. We have a certain number of bikes. We have some people that bring their own bikes, but basically anybody that wants to ride that maybe couldn't ride on their own rides on the back of the bike. The person in the front is called the captain. So they are in charge of steering the bike. But we provide the bikes, the helmets, the captains are volunteers, and we all just meet up at different trails in Omaha. We have one in July that's called the ice cream ride, where we ride at night and we ride to Culver's and get ice cream. Everybody always likes that one, but
at night.
Yes, at night. All the bikes have little twinkle lights and
also
safety lights. So
that's so fun.
Nothing dangerous has
wait a
happened
minute
yet, except to me, but I don't count because I'm an employee. But
what, did you crash? Did you fall off? What did you do?
Yeah. Me and my old boss fell off of our tandem bike in an attempt to direct someone to go the correct way. We were trying to help them, and then ended up running into a curb on Farnham Street down by Midtown Crossing by Romeo's, and all of a sudden we were on the ground. So
Megan, well done. Well done.
Us in charge of directing traffic, but not a great idea. But besides that, no one else. Our captains are so awesome, and it's a good chance we really get to know those guys because we have people just return every year to help out. They love biking and they love to see other people bike. But as you kind of touched on, like the average person, because we have so many different activities, the average person is going to, have a place to fit in with us because we are probably doing an activity that they love anyways. And that's the easiest way for people to connect because they're both just doing, you like to share your passion. So these people are all bikers. We have hikers, we have art people. I mean, anything that you like to do, golfing, we're probably doing that, and we probably could use your help you
Went to
know,
the shooting range. They went
Yep,
to the
we-
shooting range.
with axe
As in
throwing,
with-
rock wall
As in
climbing.
with guns, yes.
Us
Yes.
with guns.
We've done
Yes.
everything. Yeah.
Oh.
Paddle boarding.
Oh
We're
my gosh.
floating down the river in July. If anybody's a lifeguard and wants to volunteer, no, well, we
need
stay pretty
lifeguards,
safe.
do you?
We need volunteer lifeguards, but
That so again, the list. I mean, seriously, not just adaptive technology and independent living, but what the word that comes to mind as you're describing this, and your excitement grows, is community. You're helping others feel connected, right?
Yes.
And that they belong,
Yes.
which, that just goes to the heart.
Yep.
Yeah. And then they're hanging out with like people doing fun things, and just enjoying life.
yeah, that's exactly what it is. And we have a really strong group of adults. We're always still trying to build our kids network up a
Mhm.
little bit more. It's harder, it's harder to find kids for the program lately. But we have a really strong group of adults, and we're really just out there like having a good time doing what everybody
Yeah.
else is doing. And once you come once, like you'll just make friends and you want to come again. And it's not like weird or awkward. It's just like regular people doing
Just-
regular things.
Yeah.
And it gives people they'll text and say like, oh, I can't wait for that. Or it gives like something for you to look forward to. I
Yeah.
look forward to this stuff too, because I haven't gotten to do a lot of these things, since before I started working at Outlook. You just you don't plan these types of things all the time for
Right.
yourself. So I get pretty lucky where
Yeah.
I get to plan what everybody else likes to do and also participate. So
And
And
she lets me participate and likes to take pictures of me participating, and so she got a great one of me trying to hit a beeping
Oh,
baseball.
she
with
was hitting the baseball. It was an in action swinging the bat. The ball
way
was
to
in
go,
air.
Nina.
with
Yes.
the sleep shade on, and I
Yes.
didn't cheat like some of the people do.
Ah.
She tried to avoid. I kept sending her the picture on an email and I'm like, I need this put in the newsletter. And then she'd send me like the example, like, no, Nina, that picture's not in there still. Like, put the picture in there. So, but yeah,
That sounds like a lot of fun.
It's fun, and everybody has. I truly enjoy it because I've learned so much about the vision loss journey that everyone goes through,
Mhm.
and everybody's story is so different.
Mhm.
Were they born without their vision? Did they lose their vision as they got older? Did something happen? And just learning their stories, and it just touches your heart. And they are such a fun. I have the best job. I get to work with the best people because not only I think we're kind of a unique nonprofit in the way that not only am I out there asking people for money to help those in our community, but I'm asking people to help those that I get to work next to every day.
Yeah.
And it's just the most rewarding. And I've learned so much about myself and because you do think as a person before you know anything about Outlook, you think everybody that has a vision loss, they're all blind, but they're not. And it's such a spectrum and a journey. And I've learned, especially just even from Megan, just so much about all the different activities that they've done and just their progression and what they go through.
Sure. Well, and I just don't think that as someone who has not experienced any kind of vision loss other than needing glasses because I'm old and I can't read, I don't think that, the average person doesn't understand. They don't know that, like you said earlier, and thank you for that. It's not blind or not blind. It's could be anything, right? It could be a vision impairment. It could be something that was not a childhood thing. It's a progressive thing. So what do you see? I mean, let's just educate the audience a little bit. So what are some reasons that someone might have progressive loss of vision?
That some things that you're born with, like there's RP, retinosis pigmentosa, that you can be born with and it won't kind of kick in until later down the line. I have diabetic retinopathy, so I've been diabetic since I was 3. Didn't have anything going on with my eyes until about 11 years ago. And then that happened, but it kind of progressed. It's changing all the time. Anything like cataracts is going to progressively get worse, macular degeneration. Some people, I mean, it's not lucky, but sometimes you're you'll have something happen and it'll stay the same, and you're able to adapt to that and be like, okay, I got this. But then with things that do progress, it's kind of painful because every time something changes, you notice, and it's hard to avoid the topic because that's how you're seeing the world. So just for me, being around other people that were blind really helped. I also didn't know any blind people before I experienced vision loss myself. And I remember being a waitress and waiting on a guy that had brought a light in to eat his spaghetti. And I was like, oh my gosh, I would never go out of my house if I had to bring a light, and I just remember thinking that way. And so I kind of want to change the way people look at it, because when we're all out there, I mean, you're not the only person that's using a cane or that can't see, or like with a whole crew of people, and it attracts attention. People are like, oh my gosh, what are all these people doing out here? But it kind of takes like the light off of you, and you just get to relax and be with other people that, and it's like that at work too. I mean, you might not notice that everybody can't see because everybody's just, like living their life regularly. Yeah. They kind of
I love that.
Get down where they know where they're going, they know what they're doing, and in the right environment, everybody can thrive. So,
which is wonderful.
And Outlook is taking, so a lot of people have this perception, because even when I'm out in the community by myself, when I tell people, they've gone axe throwing and gone to the gun range, people are like, really? I'm like, they can. Just because they don't have their sight doesn't mean they can't do everything that we do. The only thing that I feel, and Megan, correct me if I'm wrong, that they, as somebody with a vision, is they can't drive. That's the only. Otherwise, they can do everything that we can do. And I think some of them are, but their houses are probably cleaner than mine.
3 people hit a bullseye at the shooting range. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah, I mean,
that would be so exciting.
It is exciting, and the thing that's the coolest is it's exciting for us to. It's exciting for the people doing it, because I mean, we know we're surprising other people that are, regularly sighted, but these guys are surprising themselves with things they can do, and that's rewarding for them and rewarding for me. And I love to see them like get joy out of doing something that they didn't think that they could do. So
that's exactly what I was just thinking. Just the roar of the crowd. Oh my gosh, you got a bullseye. I mean, how fun and how exciting. So one of the other things I saw on the website that I want you to touch on are the peer groups. What are the peer groups?
So that's our peer support group. So they meet every Tuesday night over Zoom. And it's a way for anyone dealing with the vision loss journey to talk about their feelings and what they're going through. And they meet every Tuesday. They used to take the month of June, the month of October off, and as of right now, we're going to continue going through. And right now, Eric is leading that group. They meet at 6 to 7, and sometimes they have 15 people, sometimes they have 5. It just kind of varies on what's going on in people's lives, and if they've got something they want to share with the group, and they lean on each other just to say, hey, I had the problem with the Moby. How could I, this went bad for me, and they support each other and lift each other up.
So. I love that. Yeah. I thought that was very interesting because, again, to feel unity, to feel a community, it's nice like you to lean on others. I love that.
So people understand, but also I think it's kind of interesting because they're not going to feel bad for you because you're going to be sitting alongside someone with the same challenges that you have, but so we don't feel bad for each other. It's just like, you can do this. Like if everyone else is doing it, there's no reason why you can't do it. And most likely there's somebody that's gone through the same thing, or, maybe somebody's been in the group has been blind their whole life and you're new to blindness, and maybe, like everybody will have some pointers or different, things they've experienced. So put everybody together, and there's definitely a way to solve.
Absolutely. I love your mission. Love, love, love it. So you've got your golf event next month.
June 7th.
June 7th. And then the gala. So what's your attendance typically for the gala?
Prior to COVID, they were in the 600 range. We are rebuilding, and we want to get back to that. This year, our goal is to get 300 to 400 people. And we set goals for, like, I've got a goal to get us up to 48 teams for golf, if possible, to rebuild that. Because again, COVID did kind of take some people away from those things. And then, and our gala is October 13th.
Okay.
So Friday the 13th.
Yes. Well, I'm guessing how you gauge your success, because one of the other things I was going to ask is, how do you gauge your success? And I would assume it's involvement, commitment, attendance.
Yep, we've got, I mean, we go off service hours for my department because everybody that participates in an activity, you know, that all gets accounted for. For Nina, it's probably going to be the number of times she's out, the number of people she meets, the amount of money that we bring in. For adaptive technology, those folks make their own goals. If they want to work on a phone, do they want to work on a computer? They sit down with the trainer, they make their own goals, whatever's important to them. And they gauge those by, you know, like checking those goals off the list. So we measure all of our successes and things we need to work on.
I love that. You have to have goals, right?
Yep.
Ladies, thank you so much for
Thanks for
joining
having
us. I mean, really, what a great message and what a great cause. So our listeners can find you outlooken.org,
Yes.
right? Okay, outlooken for enrichment.org. Go check them out, get involved, tell your friends.
Sign up for the golf tournament.
Sign up for the golf tournament. And I'm going to keep my eye on the October 13th event myself. So thanks for taking the time. Okay, guys, that's a wrap. I'm Lynette Arrasmith, your host of High Trust Professionals podcast. Hey, don't forget to check us out online, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and let's not forget TikTok. See you next time.